Ah, the allure of fame, with its promise of adoration and wealth, often captivates aspiring actors. Yet the reality of celebrity status is a double-edged sword. While the recognition and rewards can be substantial, the pressures and intrusions into personal life are significant. Today, we'll explore how actors navigate the complexities of fame, both the advantages and the challenges that come with celebrity status. On this episode of Casting Actors Cast.
This is Casting Actors Cast. Jeffrey Dreisbach brings you insights and inspiration. Make a difference in your acting and your acting career. Here's Jeffrey Dreisbach.
Well, hello, and welcome to today's episode of Casting Actors Cast. I'm casting partner Jeffrey Dreisbach with the McCorkle Group in New York City. Thank you so much for tuning into Casting Actors Cast. I'm really looking forward to sharing some information about this particular subject. It's kind of close to my heart, and I don't believe I've ever really spent any time talking about this on any previous podcast. So hopefully you're going to find this interesting and fun. At least I hope you do anyway. But first, this is that moment of the podcast where I get to say thank you so much for tuning into Casting Actors Cast. We continue to grow this podcast exponentially, and it's so exciting. We're now on the Broadway Podcast Network, and I couldn't be more excited. So keep listening where you're listening. But if you have checked out Broadway Podcast Network, many podcasts are out there on all kinds of really interesting subjects about the business of show. So I think you'll find some additional content from some really amazing, talented artists and podcast hosts and things like that that are out there on the Broadway Podcast Network. Also, I just want to say that the Creative Coaching Partners, they've put together these classes, these courses that are really interesting and really lots of fun. And I was delighted to be asked to do a course on auditioning. So it's called The Art of the Audition. And you can find the link on my website, castingactorscast, all one word.com. So simply go to castingactorscast, all one word.com, and there you're going to find information from the Broadway Podcast Network on how you can purchase the course. It's not expensive. It's very reasonable for what you're getting. And I had a lot of fun putting it together. And now, of course, here's my shout out to my good friends at actorsconnection.com, actorsconnection.com/New York for online classes, webinars, all kinds of really cool things happening. You can take classes with working professionals at actorsconnection.com/New York. Oh, and then this final announcement, this is something I'm really excited about as well. I have been working for quite some time on this project, and I'm going to make a special entire episode on this particular thing I've been working on in next week's episode. So that's my tease. But I hope you're there for next week where I make this huge announcement, something I think you're going to find is really valuable, really helpful, and can really make some impact in terms of your work as an actor. So it's kind of a shameless promotional announcement to tune in next week, but I promise you it'll be well worth it. At least I hope you'll appreciate the effort. And the big surprise is something I'm sort of, holding my breath to share that with you. So thank you for letting me share that announcement. I think that's everything that we've covered. Last thing is the website. I really would love for you to go to castingactorscast, all one word.com, castingactorscast.com. And the reason why I'm promoting the website is it's kind of fun. You can check out how this all came about and, all of the podcast providing stuff that's going on behind the scenes. And you can get Jeff's Jots, which is a blog on every episode that corresponds to what you're listening to. You can literally have a download PDF of those show notes called Jeff's Jots. But also, if you fill out that form on the very landing page, the very first thing that you get when you go to castingactorscast.com is you'll see a form that says your name and email. And once you give me that information, and I've said this thousands of times, I don't do anything with your information. I don't waste or spam you or do any of that stuff. On occasion, I might promote an upcoming episode, or I might talk about the Broadway Podcast Network or Creative Coaching Partners, the course, but it's not like I'm doing it on a regular, consistent, hitting you up, chewing up your own bandwidth. I don't do that. But listen, if you do fill out those forms, there's a couple of things that are available to you for free. And I really mean it. These are free. You don't have to do anything. It's only costing you a little time to get some really cool information, I think. And one is a book on doing voiceover work called Conversation Pieces Out of the Studio, the voiceover workshop for professional actors. It's a 100-page PDF that you can have. Simply download it, put it on your reader, or if you'd like to pay the money and buy it at Amazon, you can go ahead and do that. I don't suggest that, though. This is free. The other thing is a video that I put together called Casting Secrets, What They Don't Tell You. And I'm going to tell you in this free 20-minute video, this is an exclusive video for only those people who give me your name and email address. That's all I'm trying to do, is just make sure that there are people out there like yourselves who are interested and continue to listen to the podcast, because I'm working my tail off up here. Up here. Where did that come from? Okay, I live on the 28th floor, so maybe that's what I meant. I didn't mean like up here, like I was like, big. Oh man, I'm getting in trouble. I'm digging a deeper hole. Hey, but that's kind of relational to what we're talking about. We're talking about recognition. We're talking about celebrity status. And is that something that you've thought about? Is that something you've spent any time on? Listen, on a personal note, I can tell you that when I was 12 years old, I saw a stage performance. And it was one of those school things, right? Where you all get on the bus and you go to the theater. It was a live stage production. And honestly, I'm embarrassed to tell you, I don't even remember what it was. It kind of didn't matter. I think it was something, a Moliere farce or some kind of a comedy, but it was adult actors performing. And I do remember this one older actor who was just fantastic. There was something about that performance that just drew me in so much that I thought to myself at that time, here I am 12 years old, I thought, I want to do that. I want to be on stage having that kind of fun and to be able to make a living at it and be like, have a career doing that. That's what I want. Can you identify with that? But here's the thing. Here's the kicker. Here's the frosting on the cake. When that actor took the bow at the end of the performance, the entire audience, maybe 500 or 1,000, I don't even know, just screamed. It was so clear that this actor was so loved by everybody in the audience that that additional frosting on that cake, meaning the adoration of hundreds and hundreds of people for what they were doing on stage, was the most, it was the most enticing and most exciting part of it for me. And so I thought, what must it be like to be recognized to that degree? And I can tell you quite honestly, from that point on, pretty much the rest of my performing life as an actor, and even into my teaching, and even into my casting, I've had this kind of deep-seated question about fame, about being a celebrity, and something I kind of wanted, but I was kind of too embarrassed to do it, to pursue it in my head even. So I kind of kept it to myself. But of course, I spent time in therapy. I spent a lot of time trying to understand what this kind of recognition meant to me. Why was it important? And I made quite a few discoveries along the way. I can tell you that being one of 8 children was part of it. And being a middle child among 8, I think in my mind and in retrospect, that I really wanted the attention. I really wanted to do things that I knew could either make my siblings laugh or just draw attention to myself. That was something that was sort of a constant MO for me as I was growing up. So that brings me to talking with you about recognition. And the thing that makes it so amazing is that there's value in having that kind of celebrity status. First of all, it can be considered as a career advancement. Let's break this down. See, recognition often leads to more significant roles. It can lead to, well, endorsements. It can lead to collaborations. It can really create an amazing cycle of professional growth, it can even help financial rewards. Because you know what? Higher visibility typical results in better paying jobs. There are sponsorship deals. You've seen commercials with celebrities. And then, of course, that means additional income streams from having personal brands. Like I said, doing commercials or endorsements. Now, the other thing that's interesting and it's positive, it can really have an influence and really can impact the platform for advocacy. What am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about celebrities. They can leverage their fame to bring attention to important causes. They can influence public opinion, and they can also drive social change. But you know what? There's also a cultural influence. I know many, many actors, very well known, that have the power to shape trends and challenge society norms and contribute to cultural conversations. The other positives, things to talk about, there's a personal satisfaction, I think, as well. That kind of validation and recognition, getting that kind of admiration from fans and peers, that just provides such a strong sense of accomplishment. And like I said, validation for an actor's hard work and talent. There's no greater feeling in my mind than when you do an excellent performance that you've really invested your heart and soul and creativity in. Having that be acknowledged by an audience is just I just find it to be something very, very, very special. But that also leads us to other pluses. You might have considered this, that celebrities also, they have access, they have privilege. When you're well known, it often leads to invitations to exclusive events, really, really amazing and unique experiences, and getting into networks, not literal TV networks, but getting into networks of peers and friends and other well-known people that would otherwise be completely inaccessible. So those are a lot of the pros of wanting celebrity. And I've come to the conclusion that there's no shame in wanting that or hoping that that might be part of your journey as an actor. But now we need to also talk about the cons of celebrity for actors. And this took me a little bit of time to write and to really think about, because I don't want to lessen its importance. And when we draw a pros and a cons kind of comparison like we're doing today, I don't want to necessarily just make it an even-handed situation, because I think that there are several factors that can really have a detrimental effect. First of all, you know this to be true, the constant scrutiny. You know that public and media attention can lead to an invasive scrutiny of an actor's personal life. It affects their relationships. It can also affect mental health. Let's talk about paparazzi, media pressure, people following you around all the time, continuous surveillance by paparazzi just to get that picture of you in a compromised state or situation. That can result in I guess it's a perpetual invasion of privacy. And that can really become stressful. And also, I have to say, it can also become dangerous. I don't have to tell you about those paparazzi scenarios in which case people are seriously negatively hurt, both physically and mentally and emotionally. And so it's something to really think about. Are you willing to give up that kind of, your privacy? And how valuable and important is that to you? Now, it's one thing to say, you know what, it's really cool if somebody's asking me for an autograph because they recognize me for something that I did. But think about that on another level. What happens if it's so frequent that you're really unable to enjoy those things that most people are able to enjoy? Like, I don't know, going out to eat, going to a restaurant, going to the theater, just walking your dog. It can really have some kinds of impact on you, and that's not for the good. Also, listen, on the negative side, there are also all kinds of expectations and pressure to maintain a public image. Think about it. The pressure to maintain a certain public persona can oftentimes be really overwhelming. It can lead to a disconnect between the actor's true self and their public image. That kind of celebrity can really drive a wedge between the public you and the private you. Not to mention, additionally, there's career pressures. The fear of being typecast because you are recognized for the really excellent job you did in a TV series might kind of adversely affect other opportunities for you as an actor. It can also, that sense of losing relevance, it can become really, really stressful. It can impact an actor's choices and well-being. That leads me to the next thought that I had about this, and that's mental and emotional strain. The mental health issues, the stress associated with fame can contribute to anxiety and depression and other mental health issues because there's a pressure to perform and meet public expectations, and that can be debilitating and isolating. Speaking of isolating, despite being surrounded by people, I know many well-known actors that feel very isolated due to the unique nature of their experience and the difficulty of forming genuine connections. There are those actors who are at a certain place in their career where they're considered to be well-known or have achieved celebrity status that surround themselves with only people that are telling them good things about themselves. And so that can really skew the reality for that particular actor. And so staying grounded seems to me to be very, very important, and to really have a perspective and something in place that is going to help you achieve that groundedness. I kind of liken it to this, and maybe this is strange for you to hear, but people say, because I'm married, people say, marriage is hard work. And you know what? I was like, yeah, sure. You're in love. If you really care about each other, if you're best friends with each other, how hard can it be? But let me tell you, after 32 years of marriage, I'm here to tell you that a good marriage relationship takes work. It does. There's a constant kind of energy flow, both negative and positive, that's happening in any relationship. And so I kind of feel in the same way. Celebrity, for all the positive things that are out there, there's also some things you're going to have to sacrifice. But nevertheless, no matter what it is for you, it's going to take work. So here are some strategies for coping with celebrity. First of all, I think it's important to establish boundaries. For example, boundaries in your personal life. Setting clear boundaries between professional and your personal life really helps protect your privacy, and it really does maintain your mental health in a positive way. Let's now talk a little bit about a scary subject, right? Social media. Mindful use of social media, such as limiting interactions and being selective about what to share, can reduce stress and maintain your personal space. So if you're feeling compelled and you're feeling the pressure to maintain your presence in social media, please make sure that you're doing those things for yourself away from that space so that you can continue to grow and develop a healthy perspective. I also think it's important, as we move on from that, support systems. I think professional support with managers, your agents, if you're working with public relations professionals, if it's a healthy business relationship, that can help maintain a really good public image, and it can really help the media relations very effectively. So it's not a burden that necessarily has to exist on your shoulders the entire time. Also, I need to share this. There are mental health resources. For example, regular therapy, counseling, mental health support. They can really help actors with very specific tools to cope with the pressure of fame. Like anything, folks, I think it's this. I think it's finding balance. Hobbies and interests. If you can pursue interests outside of acting, that helps provide a sense of normalcy and overall well-being. There's community engagement, involvement in community activities and philanthropic efforts that can provide a grounding experience and a sense of purpose beyond the spotlight. So, here are my thoughts. While the allure of celebrity is undeniable, it is crucial to acknowledge and address the accompanying challenges, those things we just discussed. If establishing a healthy boundary is challenging, you might want to think about ways to do it differently. Seek support. Working to find balance, actors can navigate the complexities of fame more effectively. Understanding both the pros and the cons of celebrity is important for actors to know that the journey through stardom can be rewarding and successful, but not be the sole aim of your talent. The last story I want to leave you with is I had the honor and the privilege of playing Lieutenant Kendrick on Broadway in A Few Good Men. I did over 500 performances, and it was a wonderful experience. And what was really cool for me was that fame thing, because there was always a group of people outside the stage door after the performance. Now, this was a long-ass play, by the way. It ran like 3 hours and 10 minutes. It was long by any standard. But I was amazed that there were a group of people standing there with programs and pen in hand and smiling at me and wanting to sign the autograph. And I was like, trying to be cool, trying to be the cool celebrity guy. And, that was like, oh, yes, well, hello, how are you? Did you enjoy the show? And where are you from? And the whole routine. So this one guy's looking at me and smiling and really very clearly wanted to engage with me. And I was only thrilled to help. And so he handed me his program and his pen, and I wrote, "Thank you so much for the support." And I wrote my name, Jeff Dreisbach, and I gave it back to him. Whereupon this guy looked at it and said, "That's not you." I said, "Well, who was it supposed to be?" At that moment, I realized that there was something else going on, that it wasn't about me being, celebritized. It was about those others just simply needing the people they needed for their autograph book or their program or whatever. Isn't that weird? So strange. But, c'est la vie, such is life. What are you going to do? But it taught me a valuable lesson about taking the work seriously, but then, no matter what happens, try not to take myself too seriously. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm Jeffrey Dreisbach. You've been listening and watching Casting Actors Cast.